The Southeast generally should produce your block vote because you come from the Southeast. At the moment, there's a problem of security. There's also the threat of boycotting the elections. How do you intend to convince them to be a part of the process? Also, for those who say you seem to be avoiding the problems within political parties in Nigeria because of a lack of internet democracy or whatever you say, how then do you intend to manage the problem of a country such as Nigeria? What do you say to them?
They only have to look at how I manage Anambra State. Anybody who can manage Anambra State, that can actually manage Nigeria. It's one of those difficult states you can manage. And for 8 years, Anambra under me was at peace. It's just a question of first, patience, listen to other views, tolerate them, and everything. And be simple about it, which is not sophisticated. Governing Nigeria is actually easier than managing Anambra State. I can tell you, because you can focus on what you're going to do. In issue of security, which you mentioned, I've always said Nigeria have a security issue that is critical. It's affecting the entire country. It's affecting the development, the economy. How do you deal with it? Yeah. First is that you have to look at it. There's two ways to fight security. Right. You can't have 100 million people living in poverty and you will not have a security problem. The more you put people out of poverty, the more you reduce the criminality. It's happened everywhere in the world. Number two is that you have to properly man the security agencies, provide them the resources that is required. And this is not something Nigeria cannot afford. You just have to do it and do it aggressively.
My joy with supporting Peter Obi is that there is something that he can always fall back to, and that is how he governed Anambra State. That bragging right is very impressive to talk about because he did not just fall from the blues. There is a place he is coming from, and I'm happy that we have a record of what he did in Anambra, and then which is very remarkable. And like he said, honestly speaking, if anybody can manage Anambra properly, the person can manage Nigeria, because Anambra is very complex and many Nigerians know it. Even Aliko Dangote in one of his speeches said the same thing, that managing Anambra is very difficult. And when he refers to what he did in Anambra, it's simple. It is something that anybody can actually look at and see the result. Now, number one thing that he did, which everybody knows, is being able to make Anambra to be peaceful. Everybody knows that Peter Obi was the first governor of Anambra State to do his 2 terms. Before him, every other governor was unable to finish second term because they will always remove the person, because there are powers that be in Anambra State, and Peter Obi was able to tame them, such that Bianca Ono even mentioned it, that Peter Obi ended godfatherism in Anambra State. So that alone is a big achievement, and that is what he is talking about. Then, when we look at 3 critical areas of development, education, Peter Obi so much performed in education that even World Bank had to come to study what he did. It is called the Peter Obi model of education. And when they studied it, they recommended it that it should be replicated in all African countries as a way to boost education in Africa. So this man so much performed in education that even World Bank came to understudy what he did. On the issue of security, when Peter Obi left Anambra, the IGP of police came out and said that Anambra State was the safest state in Nigeria as at that time. So Peter Obi was the one that left Anambra State as the safest state in Nigeria. One of the generals that worked with him, General Nenche, has come out severally and to testify about the works that Peter Obi did in security. And then to crown it all, Peter Obi won the Millennium Development Goal Award, meaning that Peter Obi developed Anambra much more than every other 35 states of his time. And that shows that he worked and that he developed Anambra better than he met it. So these are what I use to measure somebody's performance in office. And then when you look at his solution to security, you notice that they are top notch, they are world standard. Number one, pull people out of poverty, because sometimes what leads to insecurity is poverty. So many occasions, insecurity and poverty are always linked together. So, and he understands that. Pull people out of poverty, and then when you do that, you reduce the insecurity. And then the next one he now talked about was managing our security apparatus, equip them, finance them, and then he made a statement aggressively. That is very important. Aggressively monitor them, aggressively ensure that they work. But what we have now is that we can just be throwing money around. We've given the military this trillion, this billion. But the issue is who monitors. The president should be able to be on his toes, to be on them, to see that there is result. That you just gave money is not enough. That you just directed. What we hear since APC came in is that I have directed, I have directed. Directive, doesn't do the job. You've directed. Did you monitor? Did you check? Are you on them? So that is where the aggressiveness, he said aggressively, which is very important. Which when you listen to Enenche, you will see that he mentioned the same thing, that as governor, P2B was in command and in control, which is what is needed to solve security problem.
I think the ultimate question, just as you hinted, is why have you chosen to support Peter Obi and Senator Yusuf Lateef Ahmed?
Yes, it is a good, will I call it a coincidence, based on my experience and knowledge about those two principles. I first met Peter Obi in 2006. I think about 17 years ago, or years or thereabout. I was a commanding officer at 14th Field Engineers Regiment Onitsha when he came in as a governor of Anambra State to take over from Dr. Ngige. On taking over, he drove straight to the barrack. As it were then, the security situation was, there was no Operation Mesa in Onitsha, in Anambra State. It was like criminals, agitators were doing whatever they liked. No Operation Mesa, that is the internal security operations, are the oldest in the army, or in the armed forces for now. And he came, humbly, visited the barracks, and that was how we started. All that we needed was provided by him. No middleman, no middle, say, pass through this, midnight and all that. One thing hit me and touched me. There was this incident that happened in Onitsha. There was jailbreak. As I speak, our level of equipment, particularly logistics vehicles, was very, very low. It was low. I will not say very low, because even staff car did not have. And we needed to go to town. He called me at about 1 a.m. Look at what is happening, Commander. I said, sir, we are coming. I called my headquarters. Of course, because of the level of equipment, they also didn't have. They had to call the div headquarters. The div headquarters had to do one or two things before the vehicle arrived. It was about 12 noon the following day. As then the deed was done. The prisoners had broken, done everything, done the damage. It pained him. And he said, what do you want? We gave him our requirements within a couple of days. Basically, it was mobility. He provided about 10 Hilux vehicles immediately. And then the operation started. It started, it's not a question of you passing through, go to this person. Direct releases, everything. He was in command and control of the operation. Where there was need for, non-kinetics like negotiations, they were all done. And everything like a miracle within a month ceased.